unkind.
No, that's fine. Because, like, I know, like, there's commercial, residential, and, like, types of different zonings. I'm an attorney, so I understand the zoning laws. How are they, because commercial, unless they're saying that this is, like, an industrial kind of thing, and they're making it so that you can't have an industrial zoning in a residential area. But I wouldn't kind of just say this is industrial. What are they doing?
The zoning in Seattle here, they call it right now, where we exist, is C-65.
Okay.
So commercial 65 foot. So what they're going to do, because there's a light rail station going underground here about 3 blocks away, so they want high density. And so they want a bunch of little lemmings to vote for a same party, same party rule.
Okay, yeah.
And so they usually have those, they're apartment dwellers, right? So they're going to change the zoning to SM 85-320. So that means anywhere between 85 foot and 320 feet, which is 30 stories.
Right.
And so the property tax will follow the potential value of a 30-story building.
Oh.
So due to the insatiable rapacious greed of government, they are going to tax me probably more than double that what I earn, and I'm the last one to earn anything because I'm the owner, which means I am attaining servitude. I'm becoming a slave.
Yeah.
I won't earn enough money to pay their
The taxes.
confiscatory taxes, right?
Ah.
And so I have a bullseye on my forehead.
So they're not grandfathered, because a lot of times when they do these kind of zoning changes, they say anything that was in the area beforehand can be grandfathered in and not have to. They're not doing any kind of grandfathering in of old businesses and stuff like that. No. So they're specifically doing this to force people like yourself out.
Well, they don't care about me. They want high-rise with apartment dwellers to ride their underground choo-choo train.
Well, yeah, but in turn is forcing people, small businesses, out.
Yeah, they don't care. We have another piece of property 3 years ago. It got a 25% increase. My brother called to complain. They said, tough luck. But then he says, well, what about people in the neighborhood who have houses, lower income working people? What if they can't pay your 25% increase, your tax increases? And their immediate response is, they'll just have to move.
Exactly.
Right.
And so the other thing will happen is tax liens on properties. And what will happen is, even though there's a mortgage on that house, this is happening in New York, is even though there's a mortgage on that house, the government will put a tax lien on it, foreclose on the tax lien, force the people out, and then also force the bank out. So then anybody that buys that property buys it for the tax lien price. The mortgage is null and void now. And who is buying this property? Is it individuals?
No, it's big business. Big
corporations.
Business and big government, they're together.
Yeah. You are
It's
absolutely
a
correct.
lie about socialism. Socialism is the worst thing on earth. It's it's left and right is a false construct.
Yes, it's up or down. It's not about right or left. It's up or down.
Up or
It's not
down.
east
And
or west.
There's not two systems, socialism, capitalism. There's 4. Communism is in the black hole. Socialism is on the edge of the black hole, ready to fall in. Next in line is the capitalist. And they're all similar because they're centripetal in their energy. They want to concentrate.
And
The
what is the fourth?
last is what G.K. Chesterton and Hilaire Belloc and a few others in the beginning part of the last century called distributism. It's where things are widely distributed into small pieces of property, small business, small farms, etc., etc., etc.
Very interesting.
Because distributism is family oriented. The others are not. They could care less about the family. And the family is what makes the society sane.
Well, it's also what gives our society social norms and mores. And without that and the ability for people to create bonds with each other, it allows this idea that corporatization and large government is going to be the mother and father of us.
Right.
I mean, you see this in the juvenile system with parent patriarch. and this is going now from the juvenile system to the criminal system and now to the everyday society where the government is the parent.
Right. That's what communism first did, is to take away the young children and put them into their propaganda schools. So the family is negated. They're just working slaves for the state.
I wanted to say just something. Is that in its perversion, distributism, it could be a redistribution of wealth, which is a form of socialism that they put to create an illusion of choice in a capitalist society. And that becomes one of the forms of socialism of a welfare state, because you have nationalist socialism, you have communist socialism, and the nationalist socialism, which was Nazism, was at war with the communism. But then you have the corporatism, which is the manifestation here. There could also be a perversion of family values in terms of 300 money families, 13 of them the most influential, ruling the world. So any one of these things, like redistributionism and family rule, could also be perverted. But you're right about there being more than just two systems of rule. Yes.
Well, due to original sin, all things can be perverted.
Yes.
So now we're getting into theology. But we
Yes.
want to do that
What I wanted to
because
say was what's your name?
Dean Hardwick.
It's very nice to meet you. I'm Pavel Valv. This is
Okay,
Samantha
Remember,
Fix.
a lot of words that you see out there,
Yes.
moderns have twisted it.
Oh, absolutely. What I wanted.
Distributism, you can't have, for it to work, you can't really have government force it. That's the problem, because then they become Big Daddy. So it's unfortunate. But
A lot of foundations of John Maynard Keyes's economics, but that he formulated at the end of World War One, World War Two for 44, 45, they were changed because the foundations of the Trilateral Commission that went off Bilderberg Group and a lot of these meetings that the elites have, they're not the highest elites. People very often say 1%, but there's a second tier, 1% of 1%, and then there's the third, which is 1% of 1% of 1%. That is the power structure.
there's always somebody who thinks he knows better for somebody else.
But what I wanted to say very quick. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say there's another group, the Austrian school, that Hayek was part of, and a lot of his thoughts came from Hilaire Belloc, who wrote a book called The Servile State in 1910. You should read it.
No, I definitely will check it out. Sometimes I find books on the street. One of them was The Classes. I'm trying to remember who wrote that. Another one was How Soccer Changed the World. That was actually a bit of an eye-opener because I was often trying to understand how a lot of youths who were in, nationalist groups actually would very often find soccer as their venue. And it turns out historically in a lot of socialist countries, soccer was actually funded by the government. It was funded by the military, which was tied to the government, and some big business, which was also tied to it. So it was a way for people to blow off steam. And it ultimately became as a way for a lot of youths who espouse their nationalism and love of the country to actually kicking each other's butt when a football team, soccer team from one city, beats another one, but they're both part of one country. But this is how a lot of these things become twisted historically. As far as supply and demand of capitalism, it's actually not supply and demand, it's supply, deny, demand, apply. Because there are a lot of things, there are artificial shortages created on markets, speculation, scalping, for many things. What I wanted to say was...
But also the capitalist is concerned in market share.
Sure, absolutely. There are many things. Some people would say that the elections are rigged. It makes no difference who you vote for. Some people say you should vote because it gives the candidates a mandate. What I wanted to say very quickly was I missed the beginning of the conversation to record it. You said there are 22 old-fashioned hardware stores across the country, and this is
from what Google, somebody in Google land has done that, so that you would type into the search classic old-fashioned hardware stores, and that web page will eventually come up.
And you said the last one was on its way out. Which one did you mention?
It's now dead about 2 years ago. It's Seven Corners Hardware Store in St. Paul.
And this one is called what?
This one here is called Hardwick's, basically.
And it's Seattle, right? Downtown Seattle.
Well,
it's been a real eye-opener. Well, turned out it's quite an interview. I mean, I was flipping it here between this little narrow hallway myself. But it's been quite good. It's been a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for the information. I hope we meet again one day. I hope your store stays open, but,
My son is the fourth generation, so...
This is how long you've owned this store for?
Continue somewhere.
You've owned this store since what, the 1930s, 40s?
It's been here 78 of our 84 years, and my
About getting this,
grandfather started it in the Depression.
just have
So
you
since
thought
the 30s.
have you
32.
thought about
32.
seeing if you can get registered as a historical site?
No, it's possible, but that's always been kicked around. There's a lot of other things with the property tax that's potentially could go to well over $100,000.
Yeah.
They also decided to send us a letter saying that not only you have to pay property tax for the building and the land, now it's all the things they call personal property tax. All the things inside the building that's not for sale. They're not counting the inventory, but they're counting the shelving, the
How are
computers.
they evaluating that?
Am I gonna rent the space?
Arbitrarily from outside the building, they say that it's worth $100,000. So now I have to pay 10. We know 1% is the.
Yeah.
So now I have to pay $1,000. Oh yeah.
So as we're going through the hardware store, the one that's been in their family since 1932, the start of the Great Depression, giving people a chance to do some of their own self-fixes at home, is now into his son's hands, if it will go. We'll be in the 4th generation as we're taking a look around, just to give people a better idea of what it's like outside their rather large office, as we have rakes, spades, shovels, and brooms in this aisle. I don't know how this is recording as I'm walking through this establishment. Very interesting. Definitely has a very home-like atmosphere that you don't see so much nowadays. Not in a Home Depot, not in the smaller stores that seem to exist. This place is rather large for a mom and pop operation. I'm just trying to give the prospective viewers some idea of this place. I don't know if I'm doing a very good job, but at this point it'll have to do. A lot of these look like calipers, old school tools, something you'd see in a lot of those old biology laboratory displays. Well, this looks so it's like a carver's workshop. Screwdrivers, block planes, interesting stuff. Kind of a fest for somebody who likes tools. Like I said, it's all been very makeshift. I hope we don't run out of space on the phone, but it's here. It'll have to do. Some of the more heavy-duty stuff over here. That's high-performance router bits. Amount of tools, more amount of tools, miniature ball-bearing rider beds, sandpaper circles, everything here. I think you get the idea. Massive drills, actually. More drill bits. Oh yes. More drills. Drill it to the max. Got him at the slacks. Sorry. ID required due to car thefts. Wow, this place is pretty large. The lock sections. The steeple tip cabinet hinges. 15% restocking fee on all hardware returns. Interesting. That's this.
You need a nut that fits this? Yeah. Okay.
I found some, but it doesn't screw on.
I think it's because of the plastic on the other end. Have a good day.
Wow, this place is pretty large. Like I said, in between the small time hardware stores and Home Depot, this place is almost like a mom and pop Home Depot. Not quite that large, but still large enough, as you can see as we're walking through all the sections. Wow, this is huge. Oh, there's a flashlight for $90. Used wine stopper set. Oh, they have used goods. How about that? Interesting. Wow. And here you have the shop that does the repairs. Fascinating stuff, really. Well, you see a lot of the machinery. It's not for sale. Weighing scale, an old school safe for $50. From the Aircraft Steel and Supply Company. Probably harks back to even before the Cold War. Here's a VCR. Forehead Omnivision for $10. Not quite the Cold War, but still. Yeah, quite a few mirrors. More tools. Bathtub. You can store bodies in here. Or some ice cream. Or both. No hunting. Did you know that? There's no hunting here. Yes, no hunting in this aisle. And there's an elbow belt. An old school radio. Definitely kind of an interesting place. Again, you don't really see very much of this outside. 15 pieces Naritake. Oh. Showtime. More outside chairs. Kind of reminds me of one of the cursed objects there for a man who was executed. He sat on a chair, and anyone who would sit on that chair after him would be dead. So, yes, quite a few people died after sitting on the chair. And then the chair was finally put up towards the ceiling in a saloon somewhere. I don't recall where, but you can Google it. The Cursed Chair, Cursed Objects. One of them was a painting called The Anguished Man. Kind of a more extreme version of Monk's The Scream. Let's go outside, see what the store looks like there. Fly swatters. If you ever have a roach or fly problem, that's definitely the way to go. I can spank your kidder. Hi. How'd you know I was high? That always gets them. These are the photos of the family, and I guess this is the family and the owners, and just a whole history up there. This is something I didn't see. It's the Yellow Brick Road. Interesting. There's scales. More people. You see, caution bikers, etc. Traffic danger. This is Hardwick Swap Shop. This is actually what it looks like outside. And again, sorry guys, this is all very impromptu, and it'll have to do. Kind of decided to do it on the side. There's no window here, but there is some graffiti. This is a main street here in Seattle. As we walk outside of Hardwick's Swap Shop. Jars, Crocs, and more here. Oh, Lenin. Vladimir Ilyich, father of the Socialist Revolution, Vladimir Ilyich. You look a lot like Lenin, did you know that? I'm Pavel. I was actually over there, in Moscow for 2 years, in St. Petersburg, Russia. You look incredibly like him. You've never been told that? No, you just definitely. If there was a movie about him, you'd make an excellent Lenin. Not an insult at all, but tell me, this guy truly looks like Lenin.
Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. He really does look like Lenin. I don't mean John, I mean the other one. So, this is Hardwick's right here. I don't know, I've been filming this whole thing vertically. I guess I can do it horizontally. I don't know, is that better, guys? I don't know. Maybe we'll do the second part horizontally. Now I have to use two hands. It's becoming a pretty long-ass video. It might have to get edited if it even goes anywhere. Ha ha ha. The Lenin should still be there. The famous slogan was "Workers of the world unite." Does that empower you? Workers of the world unite.
That's right.
I was just doing an interview. My girlfriend and I were doing an interview with the owner of this place, and he said that the family owned this shop since 1932, which was right the peak of the Great Depression. And I'm wondering that a lot of hardware shops opened up at that time since people had to repair their own goods, because the 30s were after the 20s, and during the 20s there was a lot of optimism, so people started getting the beginnings of a throwaway mentality. But when money was tight, they would have to learn how to repair a lot of things themselves. So this is when a lot of hardware shops would would start to flourish again. This is something that most people didn't think about. But it's been here almost for 4 generations, and now he could have problems because the town wants to put up 30-story high-rises, and this is one of 22 old-school hardware stores left in the country. It's massive for a mom-and-pop type operation. Certainly nowhere near the size of a Home Depot, but much larger than a lot of smaller ones, and it is being threatened right now. So I thought maybe it is a documentary worth making. It was all kind of very sporadic, but hopefully it works. What's your name again? Is Chris? Well, that's a pleasure meeting you. I hope I see you. Good luck. Workers of the world unite.
That's right. I agree with
The world unite. So we're going back to the office. Let's see how this goes. Where it started, no one knows. I saw a man looking very much like Lenin sitting outside.
Well, that's unfortunate. Hopefully he's not reincarnated.
Well, I looked up a video on Google for the world's best preserved mummies, and Lenin was up there. The Diva mummy was in 10th place, and there were a number of others. Anyway, it's been a pleasure talking to you, sir.
All
Have
right.
a good one. We might meet again one day. There's no knowledge that is not power, right then. Have a good day. I wish you luck. I hope your establishment stays
Read
open.
Hilaire Belloc. He only wrote 150 books.
Well, that's a lot. 150 books is a lot. I was going to say, those are family photos outside when you enter into the place. Those are your family photos, or?
Only one.
Oh, sorry.
Those are since we bought secondhand things. Those are things that my brother bought when you go out to people's houses. So the only one,
That's your family photo, isn't it?
right, and then this is my grandfather who started the business.
This was in 1932. My idea was it was in the peak of the Great Depression, so in the 20s there was a lot of optimism, so people, started to throw things away, but in the 30s when money was tight, they'd have to fix them.
Right.
So hardware stores would start to flourish again. Thank you.
Okay.